So you want to build a VR game? Well, you are in the right place, and more importantly, you're doing this at the right time. VR is at the precipice of becoming a major platform. We've just had two AAA video games made, Medal of Honor and Half-Life, and it's just starting to get that momentum of becoming big. So if you're starting this in 2021, I am excited for you, and without further ado, let's jump into the tutorial. First thing we need to do is open up Unity. And this project is going to work for version 2020.1 or above. We're going to use 2020.2. I'm going to name this VR tutorial. Let that spin up. First thing I'm going to do is go into scenes, rename that to XRRig template so we can use this later. We don't have to go through this process over and over and over again. We just save one scene and then we can merge that into other scenes that we need. Before we start adding things to the project, we need to download a lot of plugins and set a lot of settings. So I'm going to walk through all of that, and then afterwards I'm going to put a list on the screen so you guys just follow through with me, and then you can pause it and I'll show that list on the screen for you guys to just go through into your own projects and check all the boxes, make sure you got everything. First thing we need to do is go to Edit, Project Settings, and we're going to start down here at the bottom and work our way up. So XR Plugin Management, we're going to install that. And then here you're presented a list of different VR headsets that are available, but you notice that the HTC Vive isn't there. And the ones using OpenVR aren't in here. So we're actually going to go install OpenXR now. It was OpenVR, that's the old version, and then OpenXR is the new one. And in order to do that, we're going to go up to Package Manager and enable preview packages. And I understand that these preview packages do have bugs. Exit out of Settings, and now we're going to go to Window up at the top and Package Manager. And then swap this over to Unity Registry, which shows us all of the packages that we don't have yet, or all of the packages we do or don't have yet. We're gonna scroll down until we find OpenXR plugin, install that. And one more we need to install is the XR Interaction Toolkit down here at the bottom. Install that one as well. Now this Interaction Toolkit will give us some samples, and we're just gonna grab this default input actions and import that as well. And that should be everything downloaded. Now, if we go back to project settings, and down here in XN Plugin Management, you'll notice that there is an OpenXR and a features option as well. So we can now select OpenXR Preview, and then there will be this little exclamation point that shows up, and it tells you that there's some settings that aren't correct for a VR environment or XR environment. So we're just going to click Fix All. And your project's going to restart a couple times. After it's restarted, there's still going to be an exclamation point, and this is telling us that we don't have a profile enabled yet. And to do that, we go down to Features, and then you select all of the controllers and profiles that you want to market your game to. I have tried using Oculus in this, but for some reason, there's this giant like black screen up on the side. So I don't know what's up with that. So I'm just going to uncheck that, go back to XR Plugin Management and select Oculus. That's going to download the Oculus XR plugin, but the rest of the video is going to be the same for everyone. That's the only like weird thing that I've noticed for Oculus as of right now. I mean, it's still OpenXR is still in preview, so there's still bugs and issues with it. So this could be one of those that they're working on fixing. So checking Oculus will download this Oculus settings part, and I just leave all of these settings normal. There's a few more quality of life settings that we want to do. So we're going to go up inside of project settings still, go up to quality. And then this pixel light count needs to be set to 1. And then we're going to do per textures. And then anti-aliasing is going to go up to 4. And we're going to uncheck soft particles. And this really helps optimize the project. And then there's one more little settings type thing we need to do. Inside of Preset Manager, you'll notice there's no presets in here yet. So we're going to deal with this. Exit out of project settings, and then when we clicked the samples for Interaction Toolkit, it put this in our project. So we're actually going to click on each one of these and add the action-based continuous turn provider, add the action-based controller defaults. So if we double click on this guy, you'll see that it preloads all of the different inputs that could be possible for any XR platform. So you got the head-mounted display, position and rotation, and then left hand, you have all the different buttons for if you select, so you press the grip, or if you move, it's the 2D axis, or if you activate, it's the trigger pressed. And this is for generic XR controllers, so this will work for Oculus, Vive, anything like that. But if you wanted to add a extra button or something in here, you could add a binding, and then you could click XR controller and add a specific kind of input if you wanted to do that kind of thing. We are not, so we're going to delete that guy. Back to project settings. And then inside of preset manager, there was nothing, and we added all of those defaults in here. And we need to specify which controller for the filter. So we need to type right in here and then left in this guy, so they line up with the correct controller. Now, all the settings should be correct. And we can start adding things into our scene. First thing I'm going to do is make an environment game object, add the directional light into that, add a 3D object plane, call that ground, set all of these to static, and now you're able to right click, and then inside of XR, we can add a room scale XR rig action based. Action based is the new input system. Device based is the old system that they're phasing out. I don't know how long they're going to support that, but action based is what we want to go for. So default is XR rig, and then inside of this XR rig you get a camera offset, and then you get a main camera left hand controller and a right hand controller. There's one thing that the preset XR rig doesn't have, and that's a component input action manager. So just search input, add that in there, and then we're going to add one action asset and the default input actions that we specified. Now, your controller should be set up, and if we hit play, we'll see what happens. So now you're able to move around. These little laser pointers are connected to your hands, and then you should be able to move your HMD around. And there we go. That is the basic setup. Congratulations, you have started a project. I'm going to show you two more things in this video. I'm going to show you how to pick up things, and I'm going to show you how to move around the space. Those are the arguably most important parts of VR. So let's get into that real quick. Picking things up is super easy. So inside of our environment, we're going to add a 3D object, a cube, move this guy up a little bit, press R, and then size that up. Set him to static. And then we're going to add another 3D object, cube. Reset the transform on that. Press W to get the position. Press R again. Scale this down to somewhere in the 0.1s is always a decent size. Move that so it's right here on this little table. So this is currently the default cube. In order for an object to be grabbable by XR, we need to add a component, and then we can scroll down here to the XR, and then we're looking for the XR grab interactable. And this will add a rigid body, and it will add a XR grab interactable component. Now, you should be able to pick it up, so let's try it. Now, when you point at the cube, it's not a good color, but you can see if you point at the cube, your laser pointer turns white, and if you press the grip, the cube will come to your grip. And then you can swap between hands, and you can throw it too. And It's a distance grab. It's a distance grab, so anywhere your laser touches, you can reach out and get it. There's a few cool things you can play around with inside of the Grab Interactable. One is the throw velocity scale. So if you bump this up, you can throw objects super far, like just launch things. And then the attach ease in time is how quickly it takes from when you point at it and grab it to it actually being in your hand. So you can create some pretty cool, like low gravity almost effects by bumping that up, and then it just kind of slowly turns and rotates up into your hand, which can be pretty cool. And feel free to play around with those. Last thing we're going to do is add a locomotion system. So inside the hierarchy, we're going to right click, go to XR, and then locomotion system. And it presets your locomotion system to be teleportation and snap turns. But I don't like teleportation as much. I think it just feels gimmicky. It's not super fun. If you can handle the motion sickness, and inside of your game there's a few things you can do to counter the motion sickness of a continual move, and a couple of those are moving slow, so the slower you move the better, or being off the ground. So the higher you are off the ground when you move, what causes the motion sickness is you see the ground going by you, but your body's not moving. So if you push the ground down, you don't see the ground moving by you, and your brain doesn't think that it doesn't really get motion sick. So we're going to remove the teleportation component, and we're going to add, we can go down here to XR, locomotion, continuous move provider, action based. And the locomotion system is itself. So it defaults with both controllers being able to do both actions, which is going to get really confusing. So we want to we want snap turn to be on the right controller, move to be on the left controller. So we're going to uncheck the appropriate ones for those. And now when we hit play, you should be able to move around. So snap turn with your right controller. There's a delay in there, so you can't just spam it. You can adjust the delay, and then you can also do a continuous move. Now, in order to use this XR rig in other projects, I recommend saving it as a prefab. In order to do that, I'd take XR Interaction Manager, throw that into XR rig, and your locomotion system. Put them both in the XR rig. And now you can save this as a prefab. So inside of assets, we can create a folder for prefabs, and then just drag this down into there. And now you have a setup XR rig prefab that you can just drag and drop into any of your projects, and you have a setup movement system, an action system, and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. You see this face? This is the face of pride. I am proud of you for finishing that project. In all seriousness, I am super excited for you to be starting VR development. It's a crazy world, and it's going to be amazing. I would love to hear how this went for you. Please don't hesitate to add to the comments. If you run into any issues or roadblocks, please ask questions in the comments too. I personally will answer and help you guys out, and if not me, there's plenty of super smart people who watch this channel who will also help you out. So don't hesitate to ask questions and jump in on the community. If this video has brought you value in any way, please don't hesitate to subscribe. It really gives me the motivation to keep doing these videos. More VR tutorials are already in the works. I'm already working on some more stuff for you guys, and I'm planning on doing some detailed step-by-step walkthroughs of how to actually develop major games like Beat Saber or Superhot VR, and basically just replicating, doing several hour-long videos about step-by-step how to replicate these games, just so you guys can learn. I learn by replicating. That's kind of how my process works. So I want to provide you guys with some of the same tools that I need in order to learn. If I could watch a step-by-step guide about how to make Beat Saber or how to make Half-Life VR, oh, that would be amazing. So I'm gonna provide you guys with some of that content. So subscribe for these more upcoming videos, and I'll see you in the next one.